Thank you for downloading this episode of the Nerdball podcast. This is a very special episode because I am putting out a new podcast. It is something I've been thinking about. Kind of just popped into my head over the weekend. I made mention of it a little bit on Monday's episode, but this one is kind of a sample of what it's going to be. If you listen to the three different dads podcast this week, you heard this story, but it's a story I told there. So it's like I said, it's a sample of what I want this podcast to be. I will be looking for people to come on, tell their stories, but it's going to be called My Dead. And I thought about calling it My Dead Brother, telling stories of my brother, funny, sad, whatever, and then inviting other people to tell stories about their loved ones. But then, I don't want to limit to seem like, oh, we're just talking about brothers or something. So I call it My Dead, and it can be about anything. It could be about a brother. It could be a mom, dad, grandma, sibling, friend, a tree that you love that died or somebody cut down, a plant, when your car died. Really, really open to anything. And that's kind of why I went with the title is My Dead. So, and this is going to be audio only. No video, because if people are more than welcome to come on anonymously. We don't have to have anybody's name if they want to talk about it. And again, it can be anything. You can. I'm not really if you want to talk about how they died, that's fine. But I'm really looking for just tell me about the person or tell me a funny story. As you'll hear in this episode, it's just a funny story of something my brother did. Or we all did when we were growing up. But really, it could be a funny story. It could be just a memory. You could just talk about the person, anything really. The person, the thing, the animal, the pet. It could be anything. I'm just looking for people to come on here and talk about My Dead. So I'm excited for this. I'm not going to put any out until I get several, maybe at least 10. That way I can put them on some sort of schedule. But I'm looking for people. You can check out email the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. Email me personally, call me, text me, whatever, if you want to come on. And it's not a long podcast. I'm looking for about 10 minutes. Nothing long. Just coming on, tell a story. If it is 15, 20 minutes, fine. I want to have the podcast open for your loved one, your memories of your loved one or your tree or your car or whatever. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm excited for it. I think it's a good idea. I'm excited to see, who I can get on here, what we're going to talk about. But yeah, I do have guests coming up, regularly scheduled episodes. Softball season and baseball season are wrapping up this week. And then football 2 days are in a couple weeks. So, trying to get some stuff done. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I'm excited the podcast is growing. Like I said, I reached 20,000 downloads a few weeks ago. We have, I think, 111 subscribers on YouTube. So all that. So please like and share. Tell people about it. I do get messages from time to time from people about how they like this episode or that episode. So it's exciting. Like I always say, it's super exciting for all this. So and check out my three different dads on the other podcast on the Nerdball Network. We had a great story from Phil and Dad Adam this week about his travels, car rides, airplanes. It was a great story. So check that out. Three different dads, wherever you get podcasts. If you want to come on any of the podcasts that I do, three different dads, we look for sub dads. Sometimes we need subs. So email 3differentdads@gmail.com. And if you're looking to come on the Nerdball podcast for a long form interview, I'm looking for that. So you can email the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com for that. And also the same email if you're looking to come on My Dead. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Again, I appreciate all the success that this podcast has is from all the listeners and watchers on YouTube. So I appreciate all of you. One last thing too, just came out. July 25th at Levi and Lilac is the first ever comedy show. It's the 25th show on the 25th. Tuesday, July 25th, 7 p.m. It's got some great comics I know personally. John Ruggiero is the MC for the night. He's been doing this for a while. He's a great dude, funny guy. Andrew Yang, another person, new dad, I believe. I think maybe child is one or two. I can't remember, but he's great. And then the closer, one of my favorites, personal favorites, Sam Rager. She's been on the Nerdball podcast. My wife and I saw her when she put an album out. She is. I couldn't think of any other person to headline this show as the first stand-up show at Levi and Lilac's Listening Loft. So tickets will go on sale. Tickets are on sale today. As you listen to this, they're on sale at noon. So look for those tickets. I'll be sharing stuff. I'm sure I'll be tagged and stuff. So just check out my Facebook page. Again, thank you, and enjoy the sample podcast, the sample of the new podcast, My Dad. The story I have about my brother, I mean, both of you knew my brother, but when we were younger, it was, I don't know, I was probably 7 and he was probably about 10. And then my younger, Misty, was 6, and Martina wasn't there yet because she wasn't born, because my mom decided to have Martina on her own. I mean, I know it takes 2 to tango, but she kind of stopped taking birth control and had this. She felt lonely, so she wanted to have another baby, and that's why my sister was born. And I don't know if it was the ultimate backfire or the best thing ever, because she's 30 and still lives at home. So I don't know. I don't know how that worked. But anyway, she wasn't there. It was just us 3. My older brother was a bully. He was bullied to me, and mostly me, but not my other sister. So we're in my grandparents' car. My grandpa was kind of mean. Like he'd get mad if you'd go back and forth in front of the TV too many times. So we would like army crawl in front of the TV so we didn't have to like be yelled at by him. But my grandparents were driving us to the mall, and we're in this 1985 Monte Carlo. So 2-door coupe. We're smash in the back seat, and my brother keeps farting. And my brother's a little jerk. And I don't know if you ever were forced. I don't know if you were ever made to smell a fart. Like people will smell a fart that you don't know, but I don't know if anybody's ever told you to smell a fart. But my grandpa got mad because my brother kept farting, and my grandpa yelled and said, "If you fart one more time, I'm going to pull the car over and you're going to get out." So you guys know my brother. He's not one to back down from a challenge. So he farted, a quiet one, and leaned over to my sister and I and said, "Hey guys, you gotta help me. You gotta help me sniff it up so Grandpa doesn't smell it." Dude. So we're in the back just huffing farts, dude. Just going to town because he's our older brother. He's gonna kick our ass, right? So we're just, and I don't know if it was like a little kid thing, but I guess I mean that's not gonna work, obviously. But as a child, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna sniff it up. But wouldn't it have worked better if you like inhaled with your mouth and not your nose? I feel like you get a lot more in that way. I don't know. Because so basically we were bullied into sniffing this fart up, but not only by trying to suck it up, but we also smelled it for no reason. Because my grandpa smelled it for sure. Pulled the car over on a 2-lane highway, pulled the car over and opened the door and pulled his seat up and told my brother to get out. He's like, "Get out of the car. I told you, get out of the car." And everyone's just crying. We smell like farts. We're just crying, farty children. And my grandma's crying, like, "No, don't let him out." So he just shuts the door and we go on our way to wherever the hell we were going. I don't know. But I was terrified. God. I was terrified so many times on that trip. Like first of all, my grandpa just saying, "Hey, if you fart one more time, we're going to open this door." I'm like, "Great." Cause I know that's going to fucking happen. And then I was terrified of my brother because he was like, "Hey, you gotta sniff this fart up or I'm going to beat your ass." And then I was terrified when my grandpa opened the goddamn car door. Like, what the hell's going to happen here? I think that's like a perfect example of my brother. Like just doesn't give a shit about anybody or anything and just did his own thing and almost forced him. He almost had his grandpa force him out of the car at 10 years old because he kept farting. That's always my go-to story when I talk about my brother because again, it's like a perfect thing for him. Like just whatever, man. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nerdball Podcast with the sample podcast, My Dead, the newest podcast on the Nerdball Network. Again, I'm looking for people to come on the podcast, the new podcast, to tell their story, their loved one, their tree, their plant, their grandma, their dog, their cat, their car, anything, to come on and tell a story. Please reach out to nerdballpodcast@gmail.com if you would like to come on any of the podcasts that we have on the Nerdball Network. I'd love to hear from you. Always looking for people interesting, even if you don't think you're interesting. I always say people love to talk about themselves. They just don't know it. So please reach out. I want to talk to as many people as I can. Again, the comedy show on Tuesday, July 25th, 7 p.m. Check out tickets on sale as of noon today, July 13th. So please buy tickets to that show. It's going to be great. You're not going to want to miss it. Plus, you might see me up there for 5 minutes. I've been working on some stuff here at home. So maybe you'll see me up there. So buy tickets, check it out. Again, me on stage or not, it's going to be a great show. So as always, thanks to Cuttlefish Graphics, Real JP Multimedia, Big Daddy Graphics, and Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab for always helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.